Good morning, everyone. Welcome in. It is 5:30 in the morning. You're here with me on BNB Finance Fixers. This is our wake-up call. It is our morning walk and talk. We are preparing to start a new here very soon. Making some adjustments in the household to make sure we are providing what we need to for the children for that process. So welcome, man. How are we doing this morning? Thank you for being here. Today is Wednesday. It is August the 20th, 2025. We are going to have a good talk this morning. Again, we're in the office as always, guys. When you check in, make sure you drop down below where you're checking in from, what time of day it is, where you are, and what's going on with you. Also, once you get checked in, please take an opportunity to complete the survey and join the process, join the call, join the talk. Good to see you this morning. Everyone who's in here this morning, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out of your day and stopping in to be a part of what we do here. As always, I'm going to be recommending that we get up, we get involved, we get engaged with our focus, with our interests, so that we are working in a way that is going to keep us motivated, keep us understanding, and keep us growing. I'm gonna give you guys some time to get in here. Check up on some things. Make sure we are running at peak capacity. And as always, guys, as I said before, as you check in, make sure you drop down below where you're checking in from, what time of day it is, where you are. Today, we're talking about perseverance and how perseverance helps us break through. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's get up, let's get going. Let's get started on our journey. Everyone, it is Wednesday, 2025. I'm coming to you from the home office, prepared to be energized, prepared to be encouraged, prepared to be excited and engaged in the process of growing and exploding all ways possible. As you guys know, here at BNV Finance Fixers, our focus is on growth, development, and discipline. It's about being aware in all necessary ways of how to grow. Welcome in, Asim. Welcome in. Alo from Dania. Welcome in. Yes, Asim. Good to see you. Thank you very much for being here this morning, guys. I am live. I feel like this is important to say. I'm actually live. This is not a pre-recorded post to the feed. This is not some event or something that I recorded a week ago and I just keep replaying it. That's not what this is. It's live. I am on the East Coast of the United States. It is now 5:34 in the morning. This is also a understanding that because I am live, I am also not AI. Like, I'm a real person. It's going to get to a point pretty soon where it's going to be difficult to know the difference between AI and a real person. But I am a real person. I'm in my house, and I'm here. I'm greeting. I'm talking to you guys. What's going on in the markets? Markets are my leverage trades are dumping. Markets are not open yet in the United States. So your leveraged trades are dumping. So what did you acquire with your leverage? So what did you purchase with your W Storks? What's that? W Stonks? What did you purchase with your leverage? And which ones are dumping? Ryan, good morning. Good to see you this morning, brother. Thank you for being here. Guys, we're going to talk about perseverance this morning. It looks like W is dealing with some issues. I don't know whether or not he actually has issues or he's just saying words, but thank you for being here this morning either way. Say what? I say what? Have you ever heard? Okay, come on, say what? Like, why you start the day like that? Dude, it is 5:35 in the morning. Thank you for stopping in. Thank you for taking the opportunity to drop something in the chat. But no, uh, STX and STR, both 24-hour trade. Okay. So if they're dumping, then that means someone's preparing to gobble them back up. What are you doing with yours? Uh, a little bit, man. I'm working on losing some weight, Ryan. Like I've started, I'm doing them running now. So I got to incorporate a little bit better. I'm still doing some work with the diet, but yeah, I am dropping a little bit of weight. But thank you for noticing. Uh, it's never, no, dude, go back to sleep. You're holding. All right. So holding's good. So how long have you had them? So W, if you've been holding, if you have bought stocks with margins and you've been holding them and the companies are strong, you're not a day trader, you don't panic. You continue to hold. You do what you do. If the company's going under and you think that, hey, I need to offload these because these are going to go to zero, but like the same way there's a bear market, there's a bull market. If there are specific ways or things that you can do, and I'm not a big market guy, my take and my approach to the market is buy strong stocks that aren't gonna go away in companies that produce things and hold on to them. Right? That's the Warren Buffett strategy. Buy stock in something that makes something, and if it makes something, that thing's not going to go away. It'll continue to grow up. So you want to buy stock in something that makes something that's going to be around. Sailor talking about issuing stock, even if MNAV is under two, shareholders panic. W, listen, look, you're deep into it, man. Everything you're saying right now is making it perfectly clear that you like just put money. Listen, you've definitely spent time studying, following the stocks. You know what you're doing. Don't panic. Hold when you need to, sell when you need to, and use the money from it to get more money. Uh, come on, come on, come on, Spider. Let's not do that. YouTube, hello. We are contacting you regarding your community guideline breaches. You have 20 minutes to reply with your justification. Type 1 to find out more. Thanks. You can't type. Listen, one, thank you for being here and helping the chat. The fact that you are actually ranked in the chat makes it clear that you are not in any way a part of the YouTube system and you can't stop anything that happens. I will not be stopping my I will not be stopping my stream in any way. But thank you for stopping in. Feel free to stay, comment, like, share, and subscribe. All right, for YouTube chat service. If you cannot type 1, please end this live immediately and add an apology post to your community page. You guys are so funny. Failure to take actual result channel strike. Well, strike the channel. Show me what you got, YouTube. Aaron, stand up and do a 360. No, get your life together. Guys, we're having a serious talk this morning. Yeah, I know, Spider. It's a scam. You have the right to appeal in this immediately and check your mail. No, check your mail. Listen, you end this immediately or you show up. Meet you in the streets, YouTube chat service. All right, so what's the channel about? Finance tips. So the channel is about the financial tips from all ends. So it starts with the basics on how to save money, how to budget money, how to build wealth, and how to build a legacy. All of it starts, the primary principle with it, though, is we always start with discipline. It's not about, and I'm answering Vincent right now. It's not about whether or not you can do. It's not about how or what particular way you need to do something. It's about whether or not you can do it, right? And so that is about discipline. That's about your behaviors, right? So we have to start with discipline. I can give you. So W was in here a moment ago talking about the stocks. A lot of things that he was saying, he obviously spent some time looking them up, researching them, thinking about them, understanding leverage, looking at the different. So he spends a lot of time in it. So he spends that knowledge, and then you invest. Well, you have to be you have to be disciplined to get to that point. And so the four pillars of discipline are going to be repetition. You have to get started doing over and over. For example, the guy guy or girl who's ever claiming to be YouTube chat service, they have to do this over and over. So they're practicing the repetition stage. You have to be patient because you're like, hey, I'm not going to get everybody to fall for it, but some people will. And then, and it's just a troll. It's just an opportunity to try to get in and disrupt people, what people do. And then after you do that, you're going to have consistency, which is doing it at a level in which you can see growth and see development where you can track it. So consistency is about being able to make a plan and then track your work. And then after the consistency, what's going on, Rich? Good to see you this morning. And Vincent, the final thing after consistency is going to be perseverance, which is what we're talking about today, because what perseverance does is perseverance works on you. When everything else works on a thing, perseverance is what allows for you to enjoy and grow from the process. We do not tolerate breaches on our platform. You're the breach. So what we're doing right now is we are having we're having this conversation this morning. As you can see from the chat, please, everyone, if you haven't had an opportunity to do so yet, please take a look at the survey question, answer the survey question. And the survey question this morning is all about how do you handle challenges. When something becomes a challenge for you, what do? What type of action do you take? Right now, I'm trying to get this 40K up, good tax advantages and good for the future. All right, your 401K, I'm sorry, your 401K up. Okay, yes, so there are some benefits to the 401K. Mayana said, hi, is that soda? Sodai? Okay, Sodai, what's going on? So now, thank you so much. I would like to say for the YouTube chat service, thank you so much for driving up the algorithm in the chat. We appreciate that. By doing so, it does draw more traffic and it does create an experience for me to be able to benefit from. Right now, my chat rate is at 3. If you could please just like spam the chat more, YouTube chat service. You're number one right now. You're the top fan in the chat. If you could just keep putting in the work, I would love to hear more from you and go ahead and drive that chat rate up. So Vincent is saying, this is a good channel. Most others on the live tell me nothing. Oh, not a problem. We're going to talk about it. I'm not an AI image, and I'm also not something that got recorded 4 days ago. Right now, okay, so with the 401k is good. Here's the thing about the 401k. This is some of the things that I do offer in my channel that are going to be different from what you hear in other places. Saving money is not something that wealthy people do, right? I believe that you should live your life like a business. When wealthy people who have wealth, or as we call them, the rich, when they make money, they do not make money. And this is our platform. We do as we please. I like that one. I like that one. I almost pinned that. That's funny. I'm so sorry. I got sidetracked. So to Vincent's question. So Vincent, when we talk about being able to, when you want to do something with your 401k, I'm not a big fan of saving. The reason I'm not a big fan of saving is because businesses don't save, right? Businesses, they will have funds allocated for making adjustments in time when it may be necessary, but businesses do not save, right? So the way businesses structure the way they perform is they keep money in certain places, right? So you have to have a certain degree of liquidity. So you need to be able to have cash on hand to do certain things. Otherwise, you're constantly working with credit, you're constantly working with debt. Now, you also need a certain degree of leverage with debt. Now, here's the benefit of debt, and everyone says it's a bad thing. It is for a person, it's not for a company. That's why this is important. So, for a person, debt's bad because it's you. You have to exchange your time, which is limited, for money to pay off money that has already been used, and that amount of money you're being charged to use. That's bad for a person. Here's the difference for a company. When a company takes on debt, if it takes on enough debt, the people who it owes money to, right? This is why the United States stays in the type of debt it's in. What are you going to do? Stop working with us? We have to pay you back. So do you know the old saying, as long as I owe you money, you can't go broke? That's how businesses work. And so businesses essentially say, hey, listen, if you call in your debt, I'm a call bankruptcy. And then we're going to wipe your debt out to zero. Let's figure something else out, right? So that's how businesses work. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and to take on debt. What I am telling you is you need to find ways to invest your money versus save your money, because investing money, announcement, please all leave a rainbow emoji in the chat. Doing so shows support for the creator. And you're so mad. Yo, YouTube, thank you. Listen, chat service, thank you so much for being here, man. You're number 2 as a top fan today. You got a lot of comments, but but you're number 2. But you're so mad right now. But I appreciate the continued support. W said U.S. dollar has lost 99% value since inception. Your 401k will not be able to outpace inflation, dollar debasement, or the cost of capital. A lot of fancy words to say invest. It's not about your money sitting somewhere. It's about your money growing. 401ks are simply you allowing someone else to take your money and invest it, and then over time, they're gonna pay you part. They're gonna let you start drawing from that. So a 401k is essentially a really high kind of faluted, highfalutin, is it faluted or falution? But a 401k is a type of savings account. It's just a savings account with with a higher return, with the understanding that at some point in the future, you're going to start living off of this money and it's going to stop growing. Right? Vincent said, yeah, credit nearly killed me. I financed a Tesla. Damn thing lost half its value in like 12 months. That was bad debt. Also, woman thought I was transitioning. That's another story. Oh, that's funny, Vincent. My name is Haraya. Can you put, man, Harananya? Chat service. He is no far. Chat service, you're funny. Thanks for stopping in, chat service. W says money is energy in transactive form. Place your money where the energy is. BTC is energy. All right, so W is saying Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies are energy. So essentially saying cross borders, don't be limited by what the laws are. That's basically what cryptocurrency is. It says don't be limited by the laws in your country. Cryptocurrency can spend anywhere. It has value, and there's a limited amount of it. And so it's the same thing as gold. Gold was used as the standard for currency because there's a limited amount of it, and the more money that's out there, the value of gold is supposed to grow, or the more gold, the less gold there is in the earth, the greater the value of the gold. So that's how that goes. Shout out to Mike Hawk and Phil. They passed away last night. You say Mike Hawk and Phil who? Phil who? You got to say it out loud, JT. You almost got me though. Brody, Cars are depreciating assets, not an investment, unless you purchase them through your business. They are depreciating, they still depreciating assets, but when you purchase them through your business versus purchasing them with your own money or purchasing them on your own name, your company can write off that appreciation and it adjusts one of the biggest expenses that we have, which is cash. W Stock said, not crypto. Share more with me, please. We have to question if this creator is as good as he thinks with money. Why would he choose those cheap glasses? Yo, you such a hater, but that's funny. Everybody said, welcome back, Kimbo's Life. That was from Christopher. Where are you from? Wakanda. No. No, BTC is energy. Hashed energy actually governed by laws of thermodynamics, unlike flat, which is printed. All right, so. All right, or a classic or rare exotic. Yeah, you can get a classic or rare exotic car. That's a type of investment. But again, I like investing in things that produce things. Chat service, I got the exact same pair of glasses. All right, Christopher says, I know you got BTC, but okay. Christopher, guys, that's okay. I'm getting out of chat. Y'all gonna make me, y'all gonna make me stop reading the chat. Uh, uh, all right. New on the channel, what we do here, we do discipline development and growth. The focus here in the channel is to work with helping to build financial legacies. The primary way of being able to do that is understanding that it requires personal accountability. It also requires having being self-aware and ultimately being disciplined. Anything that you want to do requires discipline. Discipline has 4 pillars, the first of which is repetition, followed up by patience, then consistency and perseverance, which is the thing that works on you. Perseverance is how you are able to know that you're growing, and it's the thing that helps you become the person that you want to be when you get to where you want to go. Well, thank you so much for asking the question, Catherine. YouTube chat service is somewhere, I don't know, a few minutes back, tried to convince me that I needed to end the stream, and now he's just supporting as best he possibly can. We have nailed repetition. Indeed, that is the point, right? Repetition is you have to be able to show up, keep doing the thing. And then the more you repeat it, the better you become at it. Your body is going to ask for consistency. So with patience, in order for you to achieve something, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen right away. Like the first time you come into somebody's chat and you say, hey, you violated the standards or whatever, you're trying to get them to stop their stream, like not everyone's going to fall for it. But the first couple of times someone is new, they may. But as they stay and they're consistent and they learn and they grow, they're a lot less susceptible to fall to that, right? So the thing that we're talking about, like I said, we're talking about perseverance, right? And so we want to get into the core of what we're talking about, the core of how it works and the benefits of it. Look like a pastor. Not sure what that means, but I hope that's a good thing. Thank you, Glock. Vincent said, I tried listening to Dave Ramsey, but he's totally against debt, too conservative. I guess that's down to him being super religious. No, it's down to the fact that Dave Ramsey has money, right? And so Dave Ramsey created something that generated wealth for him, right? He wrote a book. He started this little, hey, live debt-free thing. And then that book and that teaching people poured money into. And so it's easy for him to live debt free because he's making millions of dollars a year. So if he wants to buy a $600,000, $700,000 house, he has $1 million to do it with. Most people don't make that type of money. And so when he tells you to live debt free, don't acquire any debt, you can't, it's really difficult for you to grow, which is why I say live like a business. And the reason you live like a business is because your business, when it acquires debt, it requires an asset to offset it, right? And then your business has a way to write that off. But it still takes discipline, because it's not just like, hey, I can just wake up and decide that this is how I want to do things and not still pursue it with discipline. I still have to gain knowledge. I still have to become understanding of the field that I want to go into and the work that I want to do. We are broke. Help us. Only 3, not 4. Chat, you're still in there. It says, I've personally never seen a pastor with such poor clothing choices. Dude, I'm outfitted. I'm like, how do you not like the pink Nike tee? Come on. Plus, I got the Nike, like, dude, like, I'm popping off real quick. I'm just letting you know, chat. I think you hating on the clothes. JJOs, lots of flags, USA. Chat says, I think we should start a GoFundMe to help this struggling creator purchase the new tee. You're funny. So now, what are we talking about when we talk about perseverance? Well, perseverance is a part that while you're journeying, while you're looking to develop discipline, right, there are some difficult times. Challenges will come up. We have to understand that the challenge is a part of the growth. And when we face that challenge and the learning that we do, the determination that we learn, the stick to itness that comes with it is a major part of the journey. We have to learn to appreciate it. A lot of times people don't appreciate the pain. Like I remember as a personal trainer, when I would work out, there are certain workouts you would do that like you would really go like a really hard workout, and then that recovery time and like the pain in the arms and the legs and the muscles as they start to repair fibers, those were things that we were able to enjoy. So I learned to enjoy an ice bath. I learned to enjoy the massages and the recovery time. I learned to enjoy the stretching. I learned to enjoy the feeling that comes from doing that work. And those are the types of things that we have to do in order to understand what perseverance is, because perseverance is the thing that works on you that says, hey, when it gets challenging, when there are tough times, when there are things happening, how do you deal with it? And so fought for 2,000 years or more to keep what we have. This is Oh No Fron. Only 3 or 4. We have fought for 2,000 years. What are we talking about? Good luck, sir, for $100. Maybe you don't know. I'm not sure we're in this. I think you're commenting on the wrong chat. I don't know what you're saying. Who is this? Oh no phone? Oh no. Oh no often? I don't know. Oh no off on? Okay. On off on? Did I get it right? Is it on off on? Open circuit, closed circuit, open circuit. Let me know. But buy Nike. All right. Okay. So you have to, in the chat, it says you have to be comfortable in feeling uncomfortable. You can have that one, brother. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. So the thing that is very important for us to develop perseverance and start to move forward is to understand that one of the first things that happens in growth, good morning, what's going on? What's going on, Jinder? Big Dean, what's going on? So one of the things that has to happen in order for there to be growth is you have to start taking on challenges. Yes, on, off, on. Thank you very much. So when you start to take on challenges, when you start to say, hey, I want to achieve something, and in order to achieve it, there are these things that are in my path. I'm going to need to overcome those things. I'm going to need to figure out how to be successful in light of those things, to grow within the boundary of those challenges. And so one of the biggest things to do is to push through and sometimes break through those boundaries to get to the other side. That's going to change you. That's going to start making you who you need to be to really see the success that you're looking for. Because so many of us believe that we can stay where we are and still get what we're looking for. Hey, chat service, thanks for stopping in. Thank you very much. I'm glad you stayed. I'm glad you participated. Please don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and share. And I'd love to check you back in next time next time we go on. It was great talking to you this morning. And so one of the biggest things that's going to be important about perseverance is understanding that it's part of your journey. It's where you grow. It's where you excel. You want to make sure while you're doing it that you are getting a better understanding of yourself, what your challenges are, and how to overcome those challenges. What are the things that are holding you back so that they don't continue to do so, right? Perseverance is not just like it's not a passive thing. Perseverance is active. Perseverance is not just, it's not patience. It's more than patient. Patient is understanding that while I do this work, it's going to take time to reach my goal. Perseverance is while I'm taking this time to reach my goal, there are going to be things that are not even a direct part of the challenge that I need to do in order to be successful. And those things are things that I have to go through, right? Oh, we're all important. Josh, hello, how are you? I'm doing good, Josh. Thank you for stopping in. I am a real person. Moonroof, you heard? Didn't, come on, Moonroof. I've been going good this morning, man. I heard what? What did I heard what? You heard what? you said you heard as a question. So, and so perseverance is going to be active. It's going to be the thing that works on you. You guys are important. Okay. What you going through on, off, on? You going through some things, man? You having difficulty? Talk to me. We can work through it. And so, and so understanding that perseverance is the thing that works on us and makes us stronger. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Poor Deck says, what are your thoughts on the current trade war and how it affects certain investment options? I don't know, investments are long term. So anything that's happening right now will have an impact right now. I would say if it causes the price of something to go down, in terms of investing in it, and it's a stable company that's been around for years, invest as much as you can in it. If there's going to be an actual physical war, I would say invest in gun manufacturers and bullet makers. Moonroof, bullish on the... What? I'm not sure what that means. I don't know what... Listen, I'm old. So you have to explain to me what TP is. I'm dead in a few days. All right. Is that by choice or do you owe people money? Okay, you're sick. Got you. So you're sick. Are you in the hospital now and you're dealing with something? Toilet paper. Okay, so you said bullish on the toilet paper. You heard? Why are you bullish on the TP? Okay. 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 I don't know what that means. I mean, no, like you just couple of them, man. Maybe some dude wipes. You should be good. So persevere, man. Push through. I said on off on, man. I want to say, I'm praying for you. Hope that you got your heart right, your soul right, and you're going to be in a better place in a few days. But I hate to see you leave. Jesus loves you indeed. Sorry, on off on. Hope you feel better. Yes, indeed. Radical truth. I also propose to invest into survival books in war situations in America or in other countries, also translating the books for other places. I'll be completely honest with you. I think we're really spoiled as Americans as part of our perseverance process. I think a lot of Americans are spoiled at the fact that they do not have the number of challenges that they normally would. Hold on. Yes, sir. Did you get your phone? Did you get shift?
I checked and messaged my manager because it hasn't been accepted yet.
Okay, so that's probably a no. You want to do that about a day ahead of time.
But like that's not like normally people like literally. I did do it a day ahead of time, but also like
Then
people release their shift like hours before and it gets approved. But it's just like I think it's so
don't worry about it. You'll work later. All right. Enjoy your walk. You got your watch?
yeah.
All right. Be safe. That's my son heading out, guys. He's going on a walk. You guys got to be a part of that conversation. On our phone. Have a nice day, guys. You have a nice day too. You enjoy your life. Moonroof, good disaster hedge strategy. You heard? Hey, look, ma. It's Boyce Wat. I don't even. Who is Boyce Watkins? I don't know who this is. All right, the Savior Christ. Jesus is risen. He paid the debt of our sin. Whoever accepts the gift of. Thank you very much for sharing the scripture, Savior. We appreciate that, and God bless you. And let me see, Puda Dex. And in U.S. is so fickle coming from a foreign point of view. It can be. Can't get anything done. So here's the thing. Thanks, Sambo, for commenting. Here's the thing. When we talk about the difference between the United States and other countries, and one of the major differences, and when we talk about perseverance, this is the thing I'm talking about. When we talk about perseverance, one of the things that we have to understand is that the growth and development of the countries has been through very few wars, right? This is one of the things I believe we as Americans are very spoiled with, and we don't understand how spoiled we are, which is we have lived in a veritably veritable utopia for years. I mean, like no wars, no bombs in the streets. Like I was growing up and they were like, hey, listen, you need if they drop a nuclear bomb, I don't know if any of y'all are old enough to remember this. If a nuclear bomb gets dropped, get under your desk. And we would go through drills to get under our desk to give us this semblance of safety. Mr. Tahoe, welcome back. Good morning. How are you doing this morning? This semblance of safety from a nuclear weapon. This little Formica thing, like I can see everyone. I can see the windows. This desk is not going to save me from a nuclear bomb. But that's what we were taught. And so when we start talking about, the safeties and the strategies for the United States when we go to war, I got to be completely honest with you. We're ill prepared because we haven't lived the experience, right? Lots of countries have been in war for years. Their entire existence has been war, has just been conflict. The United States has been absent from that. The likelihood that war touches like an actual human conflict in the United States, like we're invaded by someone, very, very, very low probability. Very low probability. Not saying it can't happen. Like we're more likely to go to war with our neighbors than we are to go to like literally the person who lives next door to you. I don't mean like our neighbors like Canada or Mexico or South America or Central America. I mean like we're more than likely. Like you want to know what a war is? Go to Chicago. Go look in the ganglands, the gang communities with in some of our major cities. Like those are war zones in Baltimore City and New York and different parts of California and Idaho and Wyoming and Texas, in so many places, there are neighborhoods where people actually live in war. We as the United States have been sheltered from outside countries coming in and trying to invade us. Dude, we're in great shape. We're in great shape. So there's really nothing to be worried about in regards to that. Paradise is for us. That's why. I don't know what that's about, Sambo. But it says, yeah, my parents went to school in the U.S. It was a dangerous time, but U.S. was still king. Generation later, it seems like a shadow of his former self. It's not. However, this is something that I would like to share. This viewpoint, and for the most part, I don't talk a lot about politics because what's most important for us as individuals is to focus on our discipline and the information we take in and how we use it, right? We don't just take in information to have it and exchange it with people. We take in information for the purposes of it growing our tool set and our skill set to improve our life and our future, right? So the United States is not worse off than it was years ago. This premise that the United States is worse isn't true, right? It's not true by what you look outside of your window and see. It is not true by what you experience every day. There was a point in the United States that they call the glory days, where in the 80s, gas stations ran out of gas. Let me put this in context for you. You remember in 1999 when during COVID, you remember when it was hard to get toilet paper? Do you remember that challenge? Anybody here remember the difficulty of getting toilet paper during COVID? The difficulty of getting bleach wipes during COVID, right? You remember how that was like, oh my goodness, Target is like they were coming on the news to tell you the stores that had publicly spoken to them had made it news. We have bleach wipes, we have sanitizer, we have toilet paper, right? That happened in the United States. The premise that the United States is worse off than it was before, that is an indication that we're not. We are literally having a fallout over toilet paper and bleach wipes. People could not get gas. They couldn't get gas in trucks to get trucks with gas in trucks to gas stations so people could put gas in their car. I need you to think about this. We're talking about a nation that is industrialized and everyone, most of the population is moving in gas powered vehicles, and there is no gas in the gas stations. Suburbia has grown. You can't get gas. So people who drive are walking, riding bikes, trying to catch buses. This happened in the United States. We're not there anymore. So the vision that the United States is worse off than it was 50 years ago, keep in mind, I was alive then. We're much better off than we were 50 years ago. I lived through the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. I saw what happened to communities. I lived through the AIDS epidemic. I lived through the war on drugs. I lived through Reaganomics. This perception that America is going downhill is preposterous. Other people are growing, and the way businesses work and the way this country works is that as other countries grow, this country gets bigger. It just gets stronger. Anyone who tells you different is flat out lying. They're just trying to get you to go for something that's not true. The country is just getting bigger and stronger. Okay, I'm going to do something real quick with you guys. And this is usually not something I do, but I'm in my home office. And so I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity and do this really quick with you guys. All right, so let's talk about some facts, right? Let's talk about some facts. All right. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a look at my little chat GPT page. All right. Let's take a look at my little chat GPT page, right? And I want to see if we can put in here some things that says, what is the percentage of people in poverty in the United States? All right. I'm going to put that in there. I want to see if we can get some answers on this, right? Let's take a look. Can everybody kind of see that? I'll move this over here so everybody can kind of see what we're getting, all right? What is the percentage of people in poverty in the United States? Why is this relevant, people? Why is the percentage of people in poverty in the United States? So we're looking at some data here. It is from 2023, right? And it's telling us about the official poverty rate in the United States. You guys, can you see it? Let me know in the chat if you can see that. I'm going to start reading that off. All right, so poverty rate was 11.1 in 2023, a decrease of 0.4 percentage points from 2022. It's affecting about 36.8 million Americans, right? So we're talking about 36.8 million Americans who are in this poverty window. A more comprehensive gauge that includes non-cash benefits and housing costs, 12.9% of the population, roughly 43 million Americans. We're talking about a little bit over 10% of the population. So let's find out, what is the highest poverty rate ever recorded in America? Let's ask some real questions to try to get some real answers, right? Carter said it best when he made his crisis of confidence speech. Too much self-indulgence. Can you check other measures of poverty as well? Food, security, literacy. Yes, we're going to check all of that. We're going to do it. Access to clean water. I'm guessing 1912 depression. All right, so since official records began in 1959, the highest poverty rate recorded under the official poverty measure was 22.4% in 1959. That's the first year they started collecting data. This meant that nearly 1 in 4 Americans were living below the poverty line at that time. Other notable peaks, 1983. After the recession in 1980, 15.2% in poverty. 10 years later, 1993, 15.1%, reflecting lingering effects of the early 1990s recessions, 80s and 90s. 2010, after the Great Recession, 15.1%, the highest rate since 1993. So we're looking at 10 years, what's this, 17 years from 93 to 10, 17 years. 22.4% is the all-time high. All right, so the highest U.S. poverty rate was recorded at 22.4, the first time the official data was tracked. Poverty has gone down since. So here's the thing. When we talk about the correlation of poverty to taxes, and let me get you guys back over here for a minute. Let me get you back around here for a second. When we start talking about, let me get this back off my face some so you can see me. When we start talking about poverty, and we start talking about poverty as it is in correlation to wealth, as it is in correlation to being able to care for yourself, care for your family, you have to understand the population has grown. We've gotten more and more people in the country, and we have fewer and fewer people who are suffering from poverty, right? So if we're having more and more people come into the country and fewer of those people are suffering from poverty, then that means that we are improving, we are growing, we are getting better as a nation. Crime rates, especially violent crime, is going down. If someone is trying to tell you that your life sucks, it's because they're trying to sell you something to get you to believe that your life needs to be better. We have a consumer economy that Trump is trying to turn into a producer economy with tariffs. Okay, Moonroof, here's the thing. I just want to ask you some questions and I would like for you to be honest with you. Is it okay if I ask you some questions and we have a discussion and you be honest with me in your answers? Is that okay? Can we do that real quick, Moonroof? Can we do that? All right. Quick question. Do you own a home or do you rent? I own. I own personally. I want to move it into a business so I can rent it from myself. All right, you rent. Excellent. Now, how many bedrooms in the house or in the apartment? Four-bedroom home for Moonroof. Same for you, Tahoe. RKS, welcome in, RKS. How are you doing? How many rooms? 4 bedrooms. Live with parents, laugh out. Saving up to buy it, though. Got you? RKS, 1 bedroom. Tahoe, $2,875 a month, $1,000 in utilities, $1,200 for gas, car, $1,000 in bills, 3 bedrooms. Okay, so RKS is in 1 bedroom. RKS is in Hawaii. Hawaii is an aberration. That's super expensive. But here's what we're looking at. So you have 4 bedrooms. How many TVs do you have in the house? How many TVs? Everybody count your TVs. One TV. One TV. Moonroof. 4. Not the TV argument. No, it's not a TV argument. It's not an argument. I'm not making a TV argument. That's not what I'm doing. Here's the thing, right? One TV that's never on. Here's the thing. I don't care really. I don't have any dogs in this fight. I really don't. Here's what the thing is though. Y'all need to stop with the Moonroof tomfoolery. What's going on, Henry? How you doing? Here's the thing that's important. When we talk about growth and development, everybody wants to see growth and development. What we do and how we get there is dependent on our end goal. We have to have our own vision, right? Here's what you have to understand. If the belief is that we're moving from one type of nation to another type of nation, it's erroneous. The planet is consumer driven, right? I said earlier that it's important for you to understand how debt works and how Dave Ramsey says don't have any debt, but he has something that generates money, right? The United States sits on top and the United States owes so many people money, right? That Mr. Tahoe says him and his wife making over $200,000 a year. But the thing is this, the United States sits on top because of its debt. What are you going to do? Why do you think you can raise tariffs on people? Okay, raise tariffs. Why? What are tariffs going to do? Tariffs are going to make the businesses more money. Businesses already have a structure that says, I don't care how much I pay for something, I'm going to make it back. I don't care. I don't care what the tariff is. China doesn't care. Canada doesn't care. Mexico doesn't care. We're going to buy what we're going to buy. If you're talking about increasing tariffs, increase the cost of Americans $3,000 to $4,000 per. Excuse me. I think they said tariffs. If he did the tariff increase, it would cost Americans $4,000, $4,000 a year per household, right? So let's do the math on that. So somebody help me out with this, with the math on this. $4,000. Let's say $5,000 per household. If you have $5,000 per year that it's going to cost you because you have an increase in tariffs, how much is that going to cost you per month? I'm pulling up my calculator. I'm doing the math real quick. Per month, cheapest apartment here is $2,200 for a studio. That's in Tahoe. In Truckee, 1 out of 3 households are worth over 1.4 million. Then that's what I'm talking about when I say America's not doing bad. America's not doing bad because people are working and buying these homes. I personally say we need to stop doing it with our own money. Everything needs to belong to our business. If everything belongs to our business, we pass it on to the next generation of our lives. In the future, no one's buying anything. If it doesn't make sense to own something, when it makes sense for your business to own it, because if you own something when you die, and you have to figure out a way to get it to the people and hope they take care of it. So that's $416 a month. If tariffs cost the average Americans $416 a month, right? Then that's like, oh my goodness, that's $416 a month. Well, let's take it one step further. Let's take $5,000 and divide it by 365. Let's divide it by the days in a year. That's costing us $13.70. So basically $14 a day, right? It's costing us $14 a day. At Mr. How many of them from Hawaii? It's most homes is second. Henry, let me see. So Pudex, not to be rude. Let me see. I never understood Americans' special relationship with accruing debt. This, I say 7% are from Hawaii or do business there. So here's the thing. And I keep going on and on about debt. I'm not big on acquiring personal debt. But if you have debt that is offset by an asset that generates more money than the money it cost you to get it, then you have a business. You have an asset. And when you have that, that's why your house in a business name can have more leverage than a house in your name. Budgeting is a major part of it, right? Welcome in, Kind Bluey. Budgeting is a major part of it, but that's why I start all of my conversations before we start talking about investing, BTC, currencies, IRAs, all the different things that you have to do. Because budgeting is important, the first thing I talk about is discipline. It is your behaviors. If you do not have the ability to be disciplined enough to do what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, how you're supposed to do it, then it doesn't matter what someone teaches you. It doesn't matter how much you know about stocks. It doesn't matter how much you know about savings accounts. It doesn't matter how much you know about economies. It doesn't matter how much you know about tariffs. None of that matters. If you do not have the discipline to do the right thing when you're supposed to, you're not going to get it done. It doesn't matter what someone tells you about fitness. It doesn't matter what someone tells you about debt. None of those things are going to happen if you don't have the discipline. When you develop the discipline and understand that discipline is a superpower and you can point it at anything, and when you point it at it and work towards mastery of that thing, you are guaranteed to see success. That is how you grow. I'm changing from renting to buying 12 acres and running utilities for 30 plus tiny homes. Tiny homes are 30K and I rent them 20. There you go. And then you rent one of them yourself. Henry, Elon Musk is great on tax-free income. Yeah, Elon Musk is one of the people who I researched when I was trying to figure out why don't rich people pay taxes? Why don't rich people, like, how do rich people live different than we live? How do they do things differently? Rich people, no rich person owns their home. Zero. Go take a look. Zero rich people own their home. Zero rich people have their name, their home in their name. If they do, they're not rich. They just have a lot of money. That's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Right? So when rich people want to buy homes, if you've ever wondered, why did they buy a $15 million home that they are never in? Why did they do that? Because they bought it in their business name. And when they invested in their business name, they used that as leverage. They bought it with cash because they didn't want to pay taxes on the cash. And the best way to not pay taxes on the cash is to start a business and invest that money into the business. I can't pay taxes on it because it's not mine. It's the business. The business has to do work. And the business bought a $15 million home and they moved into it. And they're renting it from the business. And the business has to take the money that they pay to rent it to pay for all of the things necessary: utilities, trash removal, maintenance, upkeep, taxes. And so every year, that's how they pay it off. And then as they pay it, they pay themselves for owning the business. And then because the business does not have, because the property was purchased for cash, the business can go to the bank and say, I have a $15 million asset that I would like to leverage for 80%. And I'm going to take 800,000 out of every 15 million, which I think turns out to be like $12 million. And I'm going to buy other properties. I'm going to buy them for cash, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to leverage them, and I'm going to buy more properties for cash. And I'm going to rent those out. And when people pay me, I'm going to use that to pay off my debt because I'm using other people's money. Right? So what I'm saying is that if this is why businesses don't save. Businesses do not save money. They allocate funds. They have, God bless you as well, RKS. They have a method of setting money aside. That's allocation is setting money aside for future endeavors, which they also don't pay taxes on. So they can have cash, and they could say, "Hey, we're building this in the future. These funds that we have are allocated to it, so they're not really ours. We have this project." So this money doesn't really exist. So don't tax us on it because we're moving this money over there. And then when they build with their profit, when they take their money and they build with it, the things they build with, they leverage and get more money to build more things. We don't do that. We buy TVs, we buy cars, we buy plates, we go out to eat, we get gym memberships, we do a lot of things. But we consume. America is built off building. America borrows money from people, and then it uses that money to grow America. And America's population consumes. If you look at the percentage of the world's GDP that is consumed by America, I'm gonna drop this in Chat GPT real quick. Henry said, rich are just plain smart. They understand the conditions of control that every view from government to the civil, but what they do it for their passion, for the competition. Don't know. They do it for their growth. They do it for their legacy. For some people that get so rich, well, it's really just a game. I heard Grant Cardone he was talking about making a deal with some guy, and he was like, well, he was being interviewed, and guy asked, well, how many more properties do you need to get? He said, well, I probably like to bring on like 200 properties this year. He says all multi-unit dwellings. And then he's like, okay, so what do you need to do it? And he was like, oh, I probably need to do this and do that. And the guy said, because Grant Cardone is like 10x it. And he was like, well, why don't you get 2,000 units? Why settle at 200? He says, well, in order to get 2,000 units, I would have to move so many things. But that was the thing that he preaches to everyone else is 10x it, go 10 times more, do 10 times more than that, right? And so when the guy asked him the question, he started coming up with some excuses. And then he was like, well, maybe I do need to 10x it. Maybe I do need to be looking to do 2,000 properties versus 200 properties. The reason that's relevant is because in order for that to make it happen for the rich, Grant Cardone in this particular interview said a lot of his deals are just about making the other person feel good. He can't spend the money. Elon Musk is worth how much? How you spend it? Like, how are you ever going to spend it? That's not real. This is cartoon money. This is who was the dude in the cartoon back in the day? Elmer Fudd. My name is Elmer Fudd. I'm a millionaire. I own a mansion and a yacht. Like he went crazy chasing the bunny rabbit, and then they had him start repeating the saying over and over and over again, right? $189 billion. What you gonna do? How you gonna spend $189 billion? Right, Scrooge money. These Bamas is diving into gold coins and swimming in gems, right? So that's why it's important for us to understand when we start talking about the money game, like you got to change your mindset. For some of us, it's going to break our mind. For some of us, we're so consumed with what we've been told. You don't understand that so much of what you've been taught is to keep you poor, is to keep you from looking to grow more, because there's a belief that there's only enough room for people, for so many people at the top. And you don't need to be at the top. There are trillionaires. There are families that are worth trillions of dollars. Why? You don't need to be there to be exorbitantly happy. You don't need to be a trillionaire. You don't even need to be a billionaire. You don't need to be 100 millionaire. Like literally, the amount of money it takes to live at the peak of what you would consider being happy is within your reach if you change your mindset. Your mindset that in order for me to get there, I have to hurt somebody is wrong. Or rich people are evil is wrong. Oh, well, they're just preying on poor people. That's wrong. If I make a product, for example, I'm on YouTube, the intention is to build this channel and ultimately monetize it so that when I come on this channel and I have these conversations and we share and we exchange, I'm making money during that process. And then to take that money, invest that money if I have other investments, and watch that money make money. And then take the money that makes to invest and purchase other things, properties, land, whatever, start businesses and have that money make more money. All of that's going to be inside of a business. It's going to create a legacy that I'm going to pass on to my children that's designed to be a perpetual money-making machine. This is within your reach, but only if you stop believing that the world is getting worse and that it's bad to invest. Oh, I can't take on any debt. What if I do the wrong thing? You're already doing the wrong thing. You're already somewhere and you would like to be somewhere else, and you're believing everybody else when they tell you, hey, you don't want to be there. Rara said love from India. Silver Spooners. Kind Bunny said 1 million would be just fine. I do, man, $1 million I'd grow. Like, man, I plant that seed. Do you understand how much investment you understand how fast? As money grows, it grows faster. And this is what the problem is. And this is why I talk about discipline all the time. As money grows, it grows faster. And what happens for most people is they never get to the point where they allow for the money to truly grow, right? Their money never really starts to grow because they get a little bit of money and then they dip into it. So if you invest $50 at a time, that'll start to grow. And then you'll get to the point where you get a raise and you can invest $250. And then you'll make a little bit more money and you can invest more money. Then you get to about $10,000 and you start noticing that your dividends are getting a little bit bigger from your account. Now you're starting to say, okay, well, can I kick it up a notch? I'm gonna do a couple of months and see if I can throw in $500. So I throw in $500 a couple of times. When I throw in the $500, now I'm seeing that it's growing even faster. So I get to 100,000. I get to 100,000. I'm like, man, I'm gonna put this whole month's salary in there. How many months can I get away with that? Do I have enough in my savings to do that? So versus me doing that, I'm gonna say, okay, well, I'm gonna keep living the way I'm living. I'm gonna keep building my savings. But right now, I'm pretty good. I'm not gonna lose my job, and so this savings that I set aside to pay for 6 months of my life in case something disastrous happens, and so my life costs me like $8,000 a month. So I have savings set aside for 6 months of my life. So I got almost $50,000 set aside for just in case something happens. What happens if I throw that into the stock market? What happens if I throw that $50,000 that I saved up to pay for 6 months of my life? What happens if I throw that $50,000 into the stock market on top of the 150 I have in there? Now I have 200,000. What happens if I go to them and ask, hey, can I get some leverage? And then they give me 4 times what I have in there. And they tell me because I have $200,000 in there, they're going to allow for me to invest up to an additional $800,000. And then I take a portion of that and I buy $200,000 more worth of stocks. And now I'm getting higher dividends. I don't own the $200,000, but they've let me leverage my $200,000 to use their $200,000 to increase the rate in which my money grows. Money grows, it compounds. But if we're sitting around believing that everybody else is supposed to be rich and we're not, that rich people are bad, that wanting something good for ourselves is a bad thing, then we're going to stay broke. You'll stay behind. It starts with discipline. You can't do it without discipline. If you can't discipline yourself enough to stop eating out so that you can take that $75 a month that you're spending on eating out and investing it into your stock portfolio, you're not going to make it. If you don't have enough discipline to understand, and this is what I mean about when you get discipline in different areas, you grow different ways. The wealthy think this way. My money is for the purposes of making money. When my money makes money, I do what I want to with my life. I can give the money away. I can help other people. I can focus on causes that are important to me. I can have conversations. I can travel the world. I can help my family. I can spend more time with my dying parents because I have enough money that my money makes money so that I can take my parents to places they've never been because they literally were poor. These are the changes that happen when you learn to think in a manner in which money doesn't matter when you have it. Stop sitting here letting people tell you that money's not going to make you happy and they're rich and you're broke. Money's not going to make you happy, but being broke ain't making you happy either. It's not really about the money. It's about the mindset. It's about the understanding that what you want to do in your life, people charge money for. Nobody's giving away trips to Australia. No one's giving away trips to Tahiti. I had a gentleman in the chat the other day who made it perfectly clear that he was in India. He wanted to come to the United States, and they said, well, you can probably go to Thailand. And he was like, oh, no, I don't want to go to Thailand. Do you understand people here in the United States spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to visit Thailand? People here in the United States are like, dude, do you know how cheap a mansion is in Thailand? I'm very passionate. I'm not an angry guy. I'm a passionate guy. Here's all I'm trying to say, guys. This is all I'm trying to share. And the talk was about perseverance. And I may have strayed a little off of the topic. But here's why it's important to understand. I don't talk a lot about investing, right? Mr. Tahoe does a great job investing money. He comes in, he discusses, he shares with the type how he's building his stock portfolios, the different things he's invested in, how he's working with his margins and other tools. Like he has those discussions, and he's a great resource. And he does the research in order to know what to do and when he should do it, right? But the main thing is this: if he doesn't have the discipline, right? He said him and his wife together make $200,000 a year, right? If you lack discipline, that $200,000 a year, you will still be poor. And this is what happens in the United States, why so many people say, hey, I'm poor. It's because they're making $170,000 a year and they bought $1 million home. Do you know what the monthly payment on $1 million home is? A monthly payment on $1 million home is about $8,000 to $9,000 in today's economy. And if you're paying $8,000 to $9,000 a month and you make $120,000 a year, you make $10,000 a month. That is 80% of your income. You can't afford $1 million home. Do you understand the $500,000 home comes in at about $4,000 a month? If you make $10,000 a month, if you make $120,000 a year, you still cannot afford a $500,000 home. Because you're making $120,000 before taxes. And if your monthly take home before taxes is $10,000 a month, your income is $4,000 a month. Your housing cost is $4,000 a month. It's only supposed to be a third of your income. So do you understand, even at taking $10,000 a month home, you're supposed to be spending about $3,000, $3,300 a month on housing? This is why people say they're poor. It's because they're making a lot of money, but they're not putting their money to work for them. They're putting their money into things to enjoy. When you put your money to work for you, I'm gonna read some of these chats. Mr. Tahoe says, that's why I'm buying an RV. Word. Kind Bluey says, $1 million loan is suicide. It's absolutely insane, especially for a home. Mr. Tahoe said, out here insurance for fire is more than most mortgages. Crazy. Henry says, there's a lot of investment opportunities in Nepal. If you have interest, then contact me. Okay, Henry. Bye-bye, Henry. Take care. It was great meeting you, Henry. Have a great day. Kind Bluey says you got to buy a home ultra cheap. Insurance, property tax, HOA fees, moonroof. Exactly. 30-year loan, break your back. So all of those are facts. All of those things are facts. If you take your money and invest it, and you leverage your money you have invested with your business to purchase something, and this is why I say live as a business. When you leverage that money you have invested to purchase that home in cash, it's different in your business's name. Your business is going to be able to have an asset. A house is an asset to your business. A house is a liability to you. Your business is going to make more than it costs to care for the house. You're not going to make anything. Have your business buy your house, you rent your house from your business. Hair Grease said, what should I do as a business? Buy stocks. Start an LLC, take your money, start buying stocks. You can start a business for the sole purposes of purchasing stocks. And invest in your stocks, and as your stocks grow and you grow leverage in your stock, you grow that, you leverage your stock to buy houses dirt cheap, as Kind Bluey just said, or who was that who said you have to buy a house dirt cheap? You got to buy a home ultra cheap. That was Kind Bluey. You purchase a house ultra cheap for cash with your business. Your business uses the after renovation value to get a loan from the bank. You use a portion of that money to pay back your leverage on your stocks. You use a portion to renovate the house. And here's the thing, people. I'm not saying quit your job. I'm not. I'm saying work the job you have, but put your money to work for you. So that when you're not working, your money is still working. Your money is still growing. And then when your business owns this property, you rent the property from yourself. You're going to pay the mortgage anyway, right? Like if you're going to pay this mortgage anyway, why not have your business pay for it in cash? You eliminate so many of those personal costs or hits to your own credit. You rent the property from your business. Your business uses your rent to pay for the things that you were going to pay for anyway. And now you own a business that owns a property. And your business, and now you can continue to live in the house and put money into your stocks. And then as that stocks, as you put money into the business and the business put money into the stocks, as it grows, you leverage it, you buy another property with the business. Now the business owns two assets. And if you choose to move from one to the other and rent the other one, you can. But even if you don't rent the other one, you still draw money off of the other one simply by owning the property. What do you think a REIT is? Does anyone know what a REIT is? REIT. What's a REIT? Renting is not stupid, Jesse. Renting is not stupid by far. Only loan if you really need. Live with mom and dad. Dave, serious cash. Save serious cash. Can I invest or trade? You can invest in trading. Right, Pac-Man. Pac-Man said it. Real estate investment trust. Right. Real estate investment trust. That's what a REIT is. Do you know what they've done in Atlanta? Look it up. They now have BTRs. They have single family homes that they're building, and they're started primarily in Florida, Georgia, and somewhere else in the Midwest. They have BTRs, that's build to rent. They are building single family homes for people to live in and rent. So versus you having a HOA and a home that you have to take care of, they've already taught so much of the world to already be reliable or already to, there is going to come a point where there are going to be people who have, and there are going to be people who consume from the people who have. And the new farm of the new world, the farms of the future are homes. Start your business, invest your money, leverage your money to buy homes and rent. Do not purchase a home in your own name. It does not make sense. If you make enough money to purchase a home with cash in your own name, still don't do it. It doesn't make sense. It's a liability in your name. A lot of REITs do flop because most of them are scams, because their intent is not to rent. People who purchase properties in these big companies that have gone out and purchased properties in Georgia, they literally had to petition the Georgia to change the laws because they bought homes. So there were a lot of renters in Georgia, and there were a lot of individual people who owned the homes in Georgia. Blackstone, some other companies came in and they were like, hey, we want to buy your rental properties. And so they went through and they bought up all of these rental properties from the individual owners. Jesse, I'm not fighting with you, man. I'm not fighting with you. I'm simply sharing the facts. If you own a business that owns a home and you rent the home from your business, you're making money for yourself. You're paying yourself for the thing that you have. Jesse, if you go out and take out a loan for purchasing a home, it costs more for the loan than it does for the money you're spending. You want the facts, Jesse James? The facts are a $500,000 home, a mortgage when you come in with 20% down, right? So 20% down is $100,000, which means you're borrowing $400,000. For the life of that loan over 30 years, you're going to pay back almost $1.2 million. You're literally paying more. You put down $100,000 to borrow $400,000. You are going to pay more for the loan than the actual loan that you have. How does that make sense? over 30 years. Literally, if you take that same amount of money, you've already saved up $100,000 for a down payment. If you put that $100,000 into the stock market, you start your own stock portfolio. You can open it up with any brokerage you want to. You start an LLC. The LLC controls the stocks, and then you leverage that stock with margins. You invest. You spend 5 years growing that, and then you leverage that to buy a house for cash in the business's name. The business says, I will go to the bank with this $200,000 home that we're going to renovate, and it's going to be worth $250,000 afterwards, and we're going to borrow 80% of that back. And so you're going to walk out of that with, what is that? 160,000, half 50,000, 80, and that's 4. So you're talking about $200,000. You're going to pay back your leverage. You're going to use the remainder to partially renovate the house. Anything left over, you continue to invest. And now you're going to move into the house that you were going to buy for yourself. Now, if you had tried to buy that same $200,000 house at today's interest rates, give me a moment. I'm going to run this calculation real quick to make sure I'm giving you the exact numbers on it. Where are you at, Jesse? Let me know where you're at, and I'll run it for your area. Where you say you at, Jesse? Jesse, this is why you get a 15-year loan. We can do a 15-year loan. I'll do that too. And what business do you plan to do this business under? A LLC with sole purposes, which sole purpose is to purchase stocks and properties. Like literally, you can start a LLC and say the purpose of my LLC is to shine glasses. The purpose of my LLC is to clap my hands at sporting events. The purpose of my LLC is to tie tennis shoes. You can start a business to say it's doing whatever you want, but you can specifically start a business for the sole purposes of purchasing and managing securities, just for you. S Corp if it gets big enough. Definitely go to S Corp if it gets bigger. Okay, so now here's what you do. In Newport, Newport Beach, California, I'm gonna run those numbers. All right, so what is the total loan amount today for a $200,000 home? Do they even have $200,000 homes in Newport Beach, California? What's your average home cost? I'm gonna ask that. What's the total amount for a loan to purchase he's like, no. To purchase a the average priced home in Newport Beach, California, with a perfect credit score, and a 20% down payment. Give me the totals for both a 15 and 30-year mortgage. All right. Millions, right, millions. So I just asked it for the average, okay? Con Bluey said plenty of cheap homes here in Victoria, Australia. Y'all got waterfront over there in Victoria? You can get some people out there. All right, and so here's what it says. So I'm gonna start to read it. It says, here's a clear breakdown. Home price in Newport. It says, Jesse, how you living, man? Jesse, it says that the average home value is $3.4 million. This is data through July. Redfin lists the median sale price at $3.2 million. All right, and so to provide a balanced, grounded current data, let's use an average of these sources, right? So the average is 3.37, 20% down payment, $675,000. Yep, you're retired. That's cool. I understand. I'm not, no, when I laughed, I was like, dude, like you're $1,000. And I talk about that like, yo, that's too much. You live somewhere where it's 3.5, right? So let's take a look, right? Let's take a look. We're talking, I get you're retired. You're on the other side of the work that a lot of people are still doing, right? Love to see all these black hustlers on YouTube. How you doing, Corey? Yep, you own your home. Awesome. How much did you purchase it for? Right? Is this the home that you lived in? This is the home that you purchased before you retired? How much did you purchase it for? How long was the mortgage? And how much have you borrowed against it since then? How much have you leveraged this property since that time? Downside, get cashed out. Corey Quinn, all good vibes. Indeed, all good vibes, Corey. Because right now, to purchase a home in Newport News, Virginia, if you want to put down 20%, it's about $675,000, right? The remaining is going to be $2.7 million, right? So you're borrowing $2.7 million. 30-year fixed rate, 6.5. 30-year rate, 6.6. 15-year rate, 15.9. Loan amount, $2.7 million. Estimates, estimated home price, 20% down, mortgage. All right. Let's see, what would be to be paid on the loan. All right. Corey said, all good vibes. Jesse says, I bought 3 homes, each time moving up as a stepping stone. Exactly. That's how it should work. The value of the home will be up a fair bit. Also, 30 Moonroof, old times in Cali. Bought their homes for $200,000 30 years ago, sitting on millions today. One home at a time, each time a better home. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You're retired. How old are you right now, Jesse? 60, retired. All right. So, Jesse, break down on the loans. The cost of the loans are $1.4 million for a 15-year loan is the cost of a loan. The 30-year loan, so most people are doing the 30-year loan. Now, here's the thing. When you take exactly what you're doing, what's going on, Noah? How are you doing today? When you take the exact same thing you're talking about, and you're talking about stepping up every 3 years, when you take the money that you took to buy the first house and you do the same thing and you start small and you do it through your business, you never lose any of the homes. You do the exact same thing that you did. The only difference is when you do it as a business with the money invested and leverage that investment to purchase the home, getting a bigger home each time. When you do it that way, you never lose any of the properties. You never lose any of the money. You are literally paying into your life. Now, what you did was you bought a home. You paid for the home while you were buying the home, right? Now, when you get finished paying for it, you sell the home. You take the value that you gained over the age, over the time period in which the home increased in value, and you lived in California at a time when the values were jumping exponentially, and you take that and you buy another home. But you lose that property. That property is no longer yours. You have the time you spent in it, but it's no longer yours. Now you buy the next property up. You repeat the process. You sell it. Now you buy the next property up. You repeat the process. And you start, and in each of these processes, you're paying the properties off as you do it. What I'm saying is, if you go back to when you started this process and versus taking that money to create a down payment, invest it and allow your business to purchase the property, your business is going to pay it off because you're going to pay the mortgage anyway. You're just paying it back to yourself. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying the wealthy do not own properties in their name. It doesn't make sense to. And the reason it doesn't make sense is because whether they choose to liquidate the property by selling it, or whether they choose to keep it in order for it to be used, in order to be able to rent it out and continue to generate income, doing it in your business name gives you so many protections and gives you so many ways to reduce your second biggest cost. Outside of the mortgage itself, which is the taxes. Kind Bunny, 53, retired. I worked hard for 20 years, saved hard. Now invest hard. I can't use my VA loan with a business. Right, you can't use your VA loan with a business. And I don't even think, I believe there are restrictions on, even if you purchase a home with a VA loan, I believe once the home is purchased that there are transfer restrictions if you choose to sell it. I believe those are also in place. So all I'm saying here, Jesse, is this. All I'm sharing with you is, in terms of how we're moving forward, credit's a bad way to go. Credit is personal debt. Businesses work with leverage, not credit. When you own your property, you should never have to get rid of it in order to do more. When you borrow against your property, you're taking on personal debt. But if your business borrows against your property, it's acquiring additional assets. If your business says, hey, I have this property for the purposes of doing business, and once you do it for a while, and this is where a lot of the property owning businesses make money, once you do it for a while, they no longer look at the property as what the value of the property is, right? When you start to acquire, so let's say at this point you'd acquired 3 properties and you have 100% occupancy, right? And now you're like, hey, I want to move into something else, right? Let's go back and let's just move what you have now into a business because you've already paid for the properties. You literally paid for all 3 properties, but you only own 1. You paid for all 3, but you only own 1. Your business would still own all 3 properties. You would still be where you are right now, but you would have paid all of your money back into your life and you would own all 3 properties. Here's the difference with owning all 3 properties. Now your business says we are a rental property company, right? How does business credit work in Folksia's few years of forming the LLC? In the first few years of forming an LLC, business credit will depend on your credit until you start to show profit. Which is why it's best to get business credit from local community banks, not big banks. Don't go to big banks for business credit. Go to local community banks, start a relationship with the banker, a private owned bank, and when you start to develop that relationship and they see that you're acquiring properties and you're actually doing business, they can extend, because they have personal control. Private banks are owned by a handful of people, right? Right at $6.99 again. Okay, that's good. But what'll happen is they'll start to look at your portfolio of your business. I remember you telling me that, right? And you and your wife have done a lot. I remember you shared your story and your growth, Mr. Tahoe, on how you've grown. And so what the local banks are going to do, are they're going to offer you the loans at first based on the acquisition of the properties. And then they're going to ask for you to have someone sign to say, hey, I'm managing this, right? Your business is really beneficial, but you have a 9-to-5 and you get double taxed from funding it from your personal side. You don't get double taxed from funding it from your personal side. If you work a 9-to-5, any money that you take and invest in your business goes into your business. You can't get it to come directly out of your paycheck. You don't get taxed. Your business does separate tax returns based on how it works as a business. And it has more write-offs than you have personally, right? Right. And so when you work with the local banks versus the big banks, I was in the ticket business and I never borrowed money for my business, and I never bought or leased a new car because a car decreases in value as soon as you drive the car. I get it. I understand all those things you're doing. And you were running that business ideally. And what I'm simply saying is, at the point when you have 3 to 5 properties and you've been doing this now over a 30-year period, and you own these properties, when you go to the bank and say, hey, my business is property management or property ownership, we buy and rent properties, they're going to look at your business and they're going to say, what is the future earning of the business? We can see that your books are balanced. You have assets. Your debt is offset correctly. You have cash on hand. You have investments. Your books look good. How much do you make a year? We're going to base our loan off of what are the future earning profits for the next 20 years for this company. And then it's going to be able to look at the past earning profits and then at your accelerated property acceleration. And they'll come to you and be like, okay, what do you want? What do you need? $50 million? $20 million? Based on what you have on your books. It's no longer based on just the value of the properties. This is why so many people get into real estate and they work their books in a way to say, hey, we're profitable. And we have all of these doors. We have all of these units that we can rent. And that is going to be the big thing, was what I'm talking about, Jesse. And I get that you're 60 and you're not too old to do this now. And you clearly have the financial resources to be able to do it. Transferring your properties into your LLC, right? Starting the LLC and transferring your properties into your LLC. And then using that LLC to write off some of the biggest costs, which are the taxes, right? Because you, at the end of the year, get a limited amount of write-off that you can do for the taxes that you pay on your property. Your business gets significantly more because it impacts its bottom line. It says the money that I pay in taxes cuts directly into my profits. And because I'm a business and I'm designed to make profits, the tax code says, yeah, we need to give you a break. We need to deduct that from any revenue that you generate. And so when you're doing this through your business, you're going to see the potential to grow and grow faster, because when you live life as a business, all you do is grow. You don't move, right? So McDonald's didn't close its first McDonald's to open its second McDonald's, right? Planet Fitness didn't close its first Planet Fitness to open its second one. Why are we selling our first home to buy our second one? It's because we're not really growing. And that's the difference of putting it into a business. Jesse, you got 40 good years left. You're already retired. You're already in a place to take the revenue or take the asset and the monies that you have, move those over into the name of a business, start the business growing, and then grow the business. Because when the focus, it's not a burger joint, right? It's a REIT. That's what a lot of people don't understand, Mr. Tahoe. A lot of people don't understand that McDonald's is one of the largest landholders in the country. But that's a whole other story. And that's the thing that's going to be important here, which is why I say my focus in conversations when I talk to people, like Dear Me just asks, how do I get rich? Discipline. Starts with discipline. First thing you have to commit to is understanding getting rich is not about getting money. It's about getting disciplined and then doing the work in the right places to get to the life you want. Because some of us, like Kind Bluey said, $1 million would do me good. Some of us just want to get a lifted truck and be able to sit in the field. Some of us want a penthouse in New York. Some of us want to be in Newport News. Some of us want to move out to the middle of the country. Everybody wants different things. To get rich, get disciplined. I'm not joking. This is not a game. Ask anybody in here, and I can walk you through the stages where they went from repetition to applied with patience, developed consistency, and then persevered. Anyone you talk to, those 4 steps are what discipline is. And the reason so many people fail is because they think discipline starts with consistency. It does not. Discipline cannot start with consistency because anything that you're doing for the first time, you don't have enough knowledge to be consistent at it. It can only start with repetition, which is just showing up and doing it. Right, guys? And so when we come to that understanding, that's how we get to a point where we're able to grow, we're able to invest, and we have to get over these mindsets and these blocks. When you apply discipline, you have the appropriate mindset, you're going to be able to generate wealth for yourself. You're going to be able to generate the life that we're looking for. That's going to be the key. Guys, I've been on here for an hour. It's a lot longer than I planned on being on this morning. Dude, dog, what's up? Good to see you. Thanks for checking in. When we start to have these conversations, dude, are you trying to keep me on here even longer? You say not even close. Prove me wrong, dude. I'll stop and I'll let you prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Because I really have to go. No, I'm sorry, bro. I do have to go. Thank you so much for your time as well, Mr. Tahoe. Dude Dog, take a look at the channel. Hit me up. I can give you some more information on how to work it out. I don't have it next time. I'll catch you guys out here, though. But remember, discipline is 4 pillars. It's going to be repetition, followed by patience, followed by consistency and perseverance. When we apply these to anything in our lives and we work towards mastery, we're guaranteed to see success. I want you guys to all have a great day. Jesse, it was a pleasure meeting and speaking with you today. I thank everybody for dropping in here and participating. Remember, what we do in our life will take us directly to where we want to be in our life. As always, guys, keep showing up, keep blowing up, keep growing up. God bless. Amen to you. I'll see you guys next time.